You know nothing about Ahithophel. Many know him as a traitor that rebelled against King David, but there's more to that story than meets the eye. So let's begin. In the days of King David, no advisor was as respected as Ahithophel the Gilonite. As stated in 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 23, Ahithophel was so wise, his counsel was seen as coming straight from God himself. For many years, Ahithophel counseled David through difficult times. His wisdom helped David avoid disaster over and over, and David completely trusted him. But unknown to David, the bond between himself and Ahithophel had been broken by an unforgivable act. And here's why. So, one evening in Jerusalem, King David arose from his couch and went to the roof of his palace for some air. And as he looked out over the city, his wandering eyes settled on a vision of a beautiful woman bathing on her own rooftop. This woman was none other than Bathsheba. She was the wife of Uriah, a Hittite, one of David's elite soldiers currently on the battlefield. And David definitely knew who she was. He knew her very well. But you see, according to Jewish history, Bathsheba was the granddaughter of Ahithophel. This advisor had been by David's side through many battles and confidences over the years. It was certain he would have introduced his promising granddaughter to the king on multiple occasions as a member of the royal court. David had met Bathsheba's disarming beauty before. Many times, but something about seeing her that night, unclothed and unguarded, lit an irresistible spark of lust and power within him. He summoned her at once and laid with her. Their illegal union left Bathsheba pregnant, which David desperately tried to conceal by recalling her husband Uriah from the front lines. When Uriah refused to return from war to cover up the pregnancy, David had the brave soldier killed in battle to hide his own sin. This act shattered whatever trust remained between David and Ahithophel. David had dishonored Ahithophel's own granddaughter and had his loving grandson-in-law killed just to cover up a pregnancy. Ahithophel's rage knew no bounds. A fire of vengeance was lit that would never be put out. Years later, David's son Absalom rebelled to take the throne. This was the opportunity Ahithophel had been waiting for. He seized it and joined the uprising. Now, working against his former master, his strategic advice guided the rebel forces towards clashing with David's kingdom. And for a time, Ahithophel's brilliant strategies worked against the king. These schemes broke through David's defenses, both physically and psychologically. And with Ahithophel's help, David eventually fled from his palace into hiding. Now, David knew he did wrong. He had repented and was paying so much for those grievous actions. He first lost the son born to him and Bathsheba, and then he lost his other son Amnon. That wasn't enough. His other son Absalom laid with David's concubines to humiliate them before all of Israel, and that act was an advice from Ahithophel. In David's lowest moments, he prayed to God.
Lord, turn Ahithophel's counsel into foolishness.
God heard his prayer and intervened. One day, during a strategy meeting, for the very first time, Absalom ignored Ahithophel's plan, and this plan would have destroyed David's reign completely. But Absalom thought he made a better choice. Ahithophel knew the rebel forces would lose if they didn't follow his plan. So, seeing that his downfall was certain, he returned to his birthplace, Gilo. And in a final act of bitter rage at being outsmarted, the once revered counselor and strategist took his own life, condemned as a traitorous advisor instead of the wise man he had been. This is a tragic tale of vengeance against the king he had once loyally served, who dishonored his family. He held on to that vengeance to the very end and took his own life when he realized he failed to utterly destroy David and send him to the grave to meet Uriah the Hittite. Thank you for joining me on this discovery, and make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content.